Okay, I hit the wrong button. This is part 2 of converting the bell housing. Now I'm going to go look for the bolts, like I said before, but I hit the wrong button. Okay, unfortunately, I do not have anything longer. But, golly. If I could have went another size longer. But, I don't think it's going to go anywhere anyway. This is factory stuff anyway, so let's clean this mess up quick. I hit that button. This is part 2 again. God. Man. Oh, I tell you. Now I gotta have it a 2-part video because I hit the dang wrong button. You know? Alright. Okay, now, what do we do now? Well, let's flip this back over now. Let's see if everything fits, huh? If it fits, it ships, right? Let's see, once the bolts go in there first, nice. Which they do. Got a little burr activity going on there, I think. There. Okay. There's Loctite on the bolts. As you can see, they put a dot of Loctite on there. Or yellow stuff. Whatever that might be. I could... I'm not going to worry about it. I could cut this extra off. But I think I'm just going to leave it. It ain't hurting nothing. And it gives the bracket a little bit more strength. God, everything falls apart. Nothing stays together here. I don't know what the torque specs are on this thing. But I would think, say good and tight would be good and tight, right? That's tight. I think that's more than what it needs, but it's... But you see the distance yet? Could have went a little longer bolts. Then that would hold that thread yet. But those were, you know, those are the factory ones. Those are factory bolts with the kit. And I even measure them. Here's the original bolts. And they're identical to these. So there it is. There's the conversion. Now, let's bolt this back up there again, up to the tranny. And we'll try it out. Let's get the tranny back into place here. I'm off kilter here a little bit. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, yeah, what the heck, just don't want. I think I'm gonna tighten up 2 of them only. Cause I got to put the bell housing in first. So I'll just tighten up these 2, but I'll have these other 2 in there. So I know the bell housing is in place, without a doubt. Okay. Yeah, I want the original 4-speed one for that car. I wonder where the original Z-bars. I still need clutch Z-bars and all kinds of stuff. So, and then I think I'm gonna have to another conversion point. I guess we got one more converting, I think, to do. I gotta measure it to see. Sometimes you gotta cut the snout to the front of the transmission off half an inch or something. I don't know what it is. Okay, let's just make sure this thing's in a ways. Once it is, that's good enough. Yeah, conversion. Without it cut off, it kind of looks like shit, but you know, what's that going to affect? You know what I mean? And then we throw our front bearing on. And then we throw our shift fork in. Now, the back of the shift fork, I had to bend this tang just a little bit so I can get this started in this deal here. So let's just see if we can get this all going at once here. I got to sit down. My back does not permit me to do half bends like that. Okay, now it's in my face. Yeah, I can feel a tang there. There, are we there? Almost done. There we are. Rolling. Where is the deal? Oh, brought it. See, now I brought it all too far, so now it jams. That's just because the bearing. Obviously, when you got this thing on the car, it ain't gonna go that far forward. You can make this thing go all the way to here, but obviously, when you have it on the car, it doesn't do that. So there we go. Let's finally see. Okay, yeah, there it's it. Is that in all the way out? Seems like it could go just. No, I think it is. You see, now that bracket sits in this area here. That's how it stays put, you know. So when you heard that go ding, I think it flipped in there. Yeah, it works good. So there it is. Push the clutch in, release it. There it is. So there's our conversion, and our conversion seems to work. So I should turn this one and just look here once just for the heck of it. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're good to go. There, we have a converted bell housing. But now, okay, so now the next step though. The next step is this. You see this? This may have to be trimmed off, cut off just a little bit. So what I got to do is I got to do a measurement from, okay, obviously this mounts on the block, the bell housing, you know. And go back. What the hell? The lens get dirty? What's going on here? Huh? What the heck? Well, that sucks. Okay. Well, anyway, you know, the bell housing obviously sits up against the block. That can't change. So you got to measure. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to measure the depth of the crankshaft compared to this edge. So if this edge goes to there, I got to know what that distance is. Okay. And then I'll know if I got to cut some of this off, you know, when it seems loose. But they're always a little loose. They got to forgive a little bit, you know. The time this thing slides in that pilot bushing, it'll hold it straight, you know. But so now if I run a, boy, that looks like that might just work the way it is, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I had to trim some of this off again off of this one, you know. I had to trim this much off of this. You know, I had to cut this piece off. And I know on my previous experiences it was the same way. So, because if the crankshaft isn't drilled deep enough, then you got to trim some of this off. Because you can't drill out the crankshaft unless you put it on a lathe and spin it evenly. It's easier just to trim this off with a 4-inch grinder, 4.5-inch grinder, and bevel it a little bit like this, you know. Let's see now. Here's straight edge. Other than that, then we'd be ready to put that 4-speed in there. It could go in the car. Let's see, where's that little level? Use this as a straight edge. So now if I run this across here, okay, that's like the block. Okay. And I measure from the edge of the block. It goes in 1 inch. Right on the money, it's 1 inch. Okay. So now I need to measure that underneath the car. So let's put this thing on pause here for a minute. Okay, so I went under the car and I measured things. Now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to figure this out. Turn this my way here a little bit. I'm trying to figure this out if I'm going to have to cut anything off of this shank. Okay, so on the bottom of the crankshaft hole to the edge of the pressure plate, so it's 5/8 of an inch. Half plus eighth would be 5/8 of an inch difference. Okay. 5/8 of an inch How do we figure this out? My mind is burnt out right now. This is easy to figure out. This is simple. It's too simple, actually. From the edge of the block, so that means it goes in 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so then on the edge of this, so where it mounts on the block, oh yeah, exactly 1 inch. So it sticks in the block 1 inch. That would mean from the edge of the block, it'd stick in 1 inch. Oh. So, if we have the bell housing, I'm trying to use my common sense here, and I have none right now. That goes in like that. The shaft sticks out 1 inch. Okay. That means when we put it on the block, that would stick in 1 inch. What do we got to do? Cut off a 1/2 inch? Okay, it's real simple to figure out. It's too simple. I think I'm just fried from today. Worked hard today. No, I'm just burnt. So that shaft sticks out 1 inch past the block mount. That means it would go in the thing 1 inch past the block mount. It would go this way 1 inch more. Okay, so if it goes 1 inch more that way, so what am I going to do? Am I going to have to, maybe I'm going to have to mount the bell housing on the block first to make this easier. That way I can measure from the edge of the transmission to inside the crankshaft hole, and then I can measure from the edge of this transmission to this, and then that'll tell me how far I got to cut it off. I think that'd be the easier way to do it, right? At least I'm thinking. I know if I look at this tomorrow morning, I'll be like, oh, well, geez, that was easy. You know, just got to do this. No. But when you're burnt out, you're just burnt out. That's all. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to do it. There's no reason that bell housing can't go on there anyway. Even if I bolt it on right now with 2 bolts, that would tell me. I think we resume this tomorrow. I think we're done for the night. I think you can stick a fork in me. I'm done. We'll unbolt the bell housing tomorrow morning if I don't have to work, and then we'll bolt it on the block. We know this distance is 1 inch from this edge to this edge is 1 inch. And we'll measure the total distance. Yeah, that'll be a lot easier. We're not going to finish this anyway tonight, so let's just call this video. This is part 2 because part 1, there wasn't going to be 2 parts to this video, but the problem was that I accidentally hit the stop button instead of the pause button of recording. So this is part 2, of converting your bell housing over to the big bearing, which I forget, I have the measurements written down actually in thousandths. But if I look here, we'll call it the 5 1/8 or 5/16. What would that be? Maybe 5 1/8. No, 5 1/16. So to the 5 1/16 bearing, cap, what goes over the bearing. So your bell housing fits. It kind of acts like a eccentric on an axle. So when you put your wheel on, it centers your wheel, on your lug nuts. Well, this is kind of what this does too. So you have to make the hole bigger on the bell housing, And so, well, when you did that, then it went into the 2 bolts that mounted the bracket on for your clutch fork. So then we had to drill holes further out, and if you look on the past video now here, you'll see that. But now we're just determining if this will go inside the crankshaft or not. And what I'm seeing here, there is a difference of 5/8 of an inch, and this is 1 inch. So I'm going to guess that we got to take something off of here, and we'll find that out tomorrow. And the best bet to do that is with a 4.5 inch grinder, cut it off. This is hardened. So it's best to cut it off with a 4.5 inch grinder and then put a little bevel to it like this and make sure that you clean it so it goes into the pilot bushing. So I'm guessing that we're going to have to take something off. Right now I'm seeing just 5/8 of an inch, and then here's 1 inch. So yeah, it's 1 inch on here. So what am I going to take off? Like a 3/8 of an inch, maybe more. I don't know. I'm just gonna do it the simple way. I'm gonna actually unbolt this bell housing from the transmission. I'm gonna bolt it onto the motor, and I'm gonna measure from the other side of this bell housing to the crankshaft hole, all the way into the crankshaft, and then I'm gonna measure from the edge of the transmission to this edge, and whatever the differences is, that's what I'll cut off. Real simple. I'm trying to figure out this way and this way with this way and that way, and this is just I can figure it out, and I think it's 5/8 of an inch what I'm seeing here, difference. But well, 5/8 to 1 inch, 1 inch this way, and then 5/8 of an inch the other way. So, but if we do it the common sense way, let's don't make it any harder, because if we do that, we're going to screw something up. We're going to take either not enough or too much off of here. You can see how deep this is. A little bit of wear on it too, I noticed the snow. Well, I hope that transmission lasts at least 5 minutes. I was hoping for it would last at least half hour, but if it makes it 10 minutes, then at least the car's set up or something. So, yeah, I don't know. No history on this transmission. We bought it from the swap meet. The guy said he took the side cover off. It's really clean inside, really nice looking. And then he must have siliconed it back on instead of buying a proper gasket for it, and then maybe a little bit of gray silicone just to ensure it. So I'm kind of scared of it a little bit right now. It may not last, but I mean, 99.9% of the time I drive my car is nice. But once in a while, you play a little bit once in a while. You get to snap something off, and then there you sit alongside the road. Because I'm an automatic guy. I mean, I build automatics. So like now, if this was automatic and I built it, well, then I know what it can take. But right now, I'm kind of feeling around in the dark on this transmission because I don't know a history about it at all. Has it had the shit kicked out of it already? I don't know. Has it been rebuilt? I don't know. So, so what we're doing is we're just trying to figure it out. And so far we're having good luck, and that's what I'm afraid of. We're having really good luck. So I suppose the transmission's probably bad, I suppose. That'll be the bad luck of the deal. There's always got to be something that goes south on you. Drop the clutch once, rev it up to a couple grand, and drop the clutch once and watch the gears fly out of it and say, okay, that lasted that long. They're a strong transmission, they could take a lot. But how much has this transmission taken in its life already? I don't know. Should I rebuild it? Absolutely, I should. Do I have to? No. Am I gonna? No. I'll listen to it. I mean, I'll drive it nice. I ain't gonna beat the heck out of it right away or anything like that. I'm just gonna drive it nice, and I'm gonna see what it sounds like going down the road. If it howls, if the transmission howls, then I know it's got to be rebuilt. Then that'll be a weak project again. I'll put her back up on jack stands and pull the tranny out of it and go through it at that point. Right now, I got a lot to swallow. I got $400 headers. I got somewhere $400 ignition system, maybe even more. I got an intake manifold. I got to plane off somehow yet. I got glass, windows, paint, interior, lights, whatever. So let's just save the money, and then we'll fix what needs to be fixed later. And I'll rebuild and brand new stuff like the starter. I'm just gonna, if they went up at the junkyard, if they want $45 or more, I'll buy a new one for 65 off of eBay. You know, but if they only want $35 and have a salvage yard that's 13 miles away, they'll sell me one. Or even $25 would be nice. That'd be half a, whatever. Yeah, I'm sitting here mumbling again, wasting video time. But yeah, so the clutch fork works great though. We have converted it. You know, I got to figure out what grease I'm going to put on here. I'm just going to put, the hell is that? So, yeah, that works great, you know. So our conversion there is done. Now we got to see about this conversion part. And then after that, we got the green light to put her in. And we'll get this baby in right away. I want it in the car right away. I want it off the table. I want it inside the car. Get it out of my way. And then I can even measure for a drive shaft too. And what I'm doing is I do a little priming on the car, and then I walk away from that, and I do some mechanical work, and then a little priming again. Like now, next week, those doors have to be primed yet. And so if I have the transmission in now, and then I'll go back to the doors for a little bit, take a measurement for a drive shaft. Um, I need shifters, Z-bars, covers. Uh, Still probably need $400, $500, $600 worth of stuff for this tranny before it's, you know. Then I still need to figure out a drive shaft. And I got all winter though to do this, but by June this car has to be done. I got some car shows I want to go to, and then whatever, I guess. If it's not, it's not. If it is, great. That's what I'm shooting for. I'd like to work on it a little longer, but Oh no, I'm reading on the TV. God, I tell you, I ain't gonna even get into that. Wish people would go by their own judgment with a good judgment call of common sense, and nobody's doing it these days. Everybody just listens to one person, and then whatever that person says, if that person would say jump off a cliff, people would jump off the cliff thinking that it's safe to do so when it's not. That's all I'm going to say. I just read something on TV I didn't want to see, but um, nobody has scruples anymore. German for common sense, brains, whatever. Anyway, um, I wouldn't want to direct my family off of a cliff if I don't know it's for sure. If I can't look over the edge first and see how far down it is. But that one guy will say, "Oh no, that's good. That's good. You can jump off that cliff." And then you find out it's not. People are dying. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I just seen that on TV. I'm trying to stay clean of political. It's just hard, but no matter which way everybody is, I don't care. I don't care. I just want to be friends with everybody. Nobody has to be like me, and I don't have to be like them. That's it. Or the world would be a dull place if everybody had to do the same thing every day. Anyway, love to all, and to all, good night, huh? Christmas is coming. And for me, it's kind of a depressing time of year. I have nobody to share it with. So, but anyway, take care, guys. Love to all. Bye bye.